19-year-old student was shot.
Just last night, 4 people were shot.
40 people were shot.
Overnight shooting.
Mass shooting.
Chicago just experienced its most violent Memorial Day weekend on record.
I can't let him take my soul.
How many of you guys have a family member that's been shot or killed by guns? Raise your hand. How many of you guys have close friends that have been shot or killed by guns? A close friend. Stand up if you have a close friend that's been shot or killed. Come on, everybody see him. Look around. Look around. That's an epidemic.
No. I can't let him take my soul. No. I can't let him take my soul. No.
I am Dr. McGee. I am an ER doctor here at Methodist in Gary and Maryville. So I've always been around trauma centers. And the first thing that we learned was a lot of injuries come in. Some of them can be from violence, some of them can be from accidents. And the gist of all of that is, once these accidents occur and it penetrates your skin, you can die from loss of blood. You don't have to be from a bad area or from the hood or high risk to now get shot. You can be at a church. You can be at a mall. You can be at a movie. How many of you guys know someone, a friend, a family member, that's been shot or killed from gun violence? Raise your hands for me if you know somebody. Raise your hand all the way high, okay? So we have different groups here. We have different racial groups. And as you can see, everyone has been affected by some type of gun violence. And so we're all in this together. It's not just from bullets or stab wound. You can have a bad bleed from a car accident where you can have an amputation or a partial amputation. It also can be from in your own home where your sister has a pair of scissors and falls and trips and cut her radial artery, and now she's bleeding. The worst thing you can do is panic, start screaming, and forget to call 911. And so we want you to learn and to know what to do to intervene to help save a life. And so we're trying to give this initiative for everyone all over the country to learn how to stop the bleed just using a video that we're creating. And that's why we're here today, to learn these techniques.
What's the first thing that you should do when someone gets shot around you? What is the first thing you should do? Thank you. Make sure it's safe, because safety is the most important thing. But if you don't make sure that the scene is not safe and then you're injured, you're not going to be able to apply the skills that you have learned to save that life. And then we're going to have 2 people that are injured. And that's what we don't want. So make sure that the scene is safe. The next thing you should do with the A is alert. Who are we alerting? 911. When you call 911, you're going to be descriptive as possible. Even if you don't know the street that you're on, just try to yell out some landmarks. Call 911, put that on speakerphone and say, hey, I'm right here on this street. It's a McDonald's next to me. I'm wearing a black hoodie. The person has been shot. You're just going to be descriptive as possible, giving all details, and then also letting them know that the shooter has left the scene as well. Next thing that you should do, what else should you do for your B? We're doing ABCs. The person is shot in front of you, you alerted, you make sure the scene is safe, you alerted 911. What are you gonna do? You see the Look for the bleed. Okay, y'all got it. All right, you're gonna look for that bleed. So if I see the person bleeding right here at the ankle, I mean, I see just blood pooling right there. Are you gonna go straight for the ankle? No, why not?
Because it might not be at the ankle.
Period. It may not be at the ankle. So what you need to do is expose where they have been shot at, because like gravity, what goes up must come down, right? So that bleeding, that gun wound can be up here, but you tended to the ankle, and that's not even where the bullet wound is. So you're going to expose that. You're going to see what you're working with. Let's see if is it a small graze wound? Is it an actual bleed? Is bleeding out a lot? Is squirting? If it's shooting out like that, do you think that's life threatening? It's life-threatening, yes. That means that you hit something major, like a major artery.
A lot of you guys may not know how much blood is in the body. There are 5 liters of blood in your body. If you're under 8, it's a little bit less. So 5 liters of blood is equivalent to a gallon of milk and a 2-liter bottle of 7-Up. Doesn't seem like a lot, right? So imagine your sister who cut her radial artery, which is a major artery that takes blood away from your heart. It's powerful, it's high pressure, and it can bleed out really quick. And if that half a liter is now on the ground, you only have about 2.5 liters of blood in your body. And now you start going into shock where you get combative, you get confused, you want to push people away, and now your life is slowly ebbing out of you. And so now when you get to the ER, where I am, Dr. McGee, the ER doc, there's not much I can do for you if you lost a lot of blood. I can attempt to give you a blood transfusion, but if so much blood has been lost and you're now going into that gallon of milk in addition to that 2-liter bottle of 7-Up, there's not much I can do to resuscitate. And that's why it's so important to learn this technique.
So what's our C? Yes, so you're gonna have some compression on the wound. But I would use the hard part of my palm and press down on the wound as hard as I can. And when do you let go when you're compressing a wound? Very good, when the ambulance get there. You don't check and look, you don't say, oh, let me see if it's still bleeding. No, once you start compressing that wound, you never let go up off of it. So now, if you alerted 911, you found the bleed and you compressed, you already did more than the most bystanders would ever do. That's already a great job.
If there's other people around who are there, you can tell them, hey, do you have anything that I can use to help stop this bleeding? Can I have your t-shirt? Can I have the bunnet off your head? Can I have your scarf? Can you open your purse? Can you find a sanitation napkin? Can you find a tampon, which is very good at absorbing blood? Can you find a napkin, a rag, whatever you have, a sock? Those are things that we don't think about that you can easily take and learn and use it to stop the bleeding.
But we're gonna be using any of these items, and then you're going to be packing the wound. When do I stop packing this wound? When the bleeding stops. Very good. When the bleeding stops. So you're going to keep packing it. It's not like, dang, I'm checking it out. You're moving as fast as you can, and you're packing that till you can't pack it anymore.
You want to actually go all the way into the wound. You tell the person, hey, this is going to hurt, but I'd rather you be alive than dead. So you just go into the wound as much as you can and just keep packing until the bleeding kind of stops. And once you do that, you're going to have excess dressing left. So now you want to go ahead and take the remaining access, and now you want to hold pressure and act as though you're doing CPR. You lean all your weight on it.
And again, you don't let up until when? You said it before? Right, till the ambulance get there. So next, do anybody know what this is? Tourniquet. Okay, y'all are impressive. Okay, so a tourniquet. Okay, so when do we use these?
There may be times when someone has been shot multiple times. So if that happens, it's a good time to use a tourniquet. So now you're there by yourself, right? And so now you keep your pressure on there. So now you decide, hey, there's another area where the person's bleeding a lot as well. So now you want to maybe take your tourniquet and use it where now it can kind of hold the pressure that you were holding so that you can go and work on the other wound. Okay, so now you've done that. So now you take your tourniquet and now you go ahead and put it above the wound. Okay? And you don't want to make it too extremely tight because it's not an amputation. If you went below the wound, now the bleeding is going to come out even more because you just increased the pressure distally. So if you go above the wound, closer to the heart, then you're more likely to stop the bleeding flow. So now you've done that. There are times when you may want to even take your tourniquet and now go over the dressing. Okay? So We don't do this too often because hopefully we want EMS to be there to be holding the pressure. But if you're by yourself, you can sometimes go on and put your tourniquet over that wound, okay? Make it a little bit tight, but not too tight, where you're basically cutting off all their circulation. And then now you can go and work on that other wound. So this is another area that was bleeding. So now you can go and do that as well, okay? So that gives you a little bit of time.
So you put that on there, you put it in that C-hook, you put this on here. If you have time to write the time, we usually have this white part that says time, so when paramedics know when the tourniquet was placed, so we won't leave it on there too long and they won't end up losing the limb. But that's how you use the tourniquet.
So guys, clap it up for yourself, okay?
Now, one more life, one more day.
Nah, 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 no. I can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no.